Hello, and as we all predicted, well, the majority of us anyway, a victory in the Premier League. We continue the win-loss form that we've had in the league and cup. Hopefully, we can get a victory in our next game and break that mould. Who knows? We might even get a draw, which is something very rare this season. But look, we absolutely ran right in this game. 5-0 victory over Everton in the Premier League that sees us stay in the place we are, but gaining some ground on the teams above us. So, welcome to the channel. I am Kieran from Speaking Spurs, talking to you all things Tottenham. And in this video, we will talk about the game itself, thoughts on how it went. We will do the player ratings as usual. So, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can get notified of future content. Make sure you support this video with a like if you enjoy it. And as always, comments below. So, let's jump into it. In this game, we saw an own goal from Kane. Sonny gets a goal. 2 from Kane. Reguilon gets one on one of his returns to the side. So, you know, we absolutely ran right in this game. There could have been more goals, really, if we were more clinical. And this is all against the relegation-threatened Everton. They were sort of clawing their way out of it. And this loss for them obviously puts them in a position where they could be dragged back into it. Very one-sided contest. They weren't great on the day, were they? And it just happened to be on a day where we decided to up our levels as well, which didn't help. And as I spoke about in the last video, Lampard has a habit of continuing to attack when he's playing away, doesn't really shore up his defence, and that ultimately led to their demise in this game. So let's talk about, bits in there. We were 3-0 up at half-time. Absolutely incredible. Doesn't give Everton much space to get back into it, and if they did, we had that nice little cushion and we could have gone again. So the goals themselves, Cess put in a dangerous cross which was turned in by Michael Keane under pressure from Harry Kane on 14 minutes. So for us, that's a pretty good start. Traditionally what we've seen in the last couple of seasons, we start games quite slow. It's not often we have a game where we start really on the front foot. So that was good to see. For the second, a lovely team goal on 17 minutes. Harry Kane had a little drop of his shoulder after he was given the ball by, I believe it was Romero. He then played it into Kulusevski, and Kulusevski, with a nice little deft touch, put it into the path for Sonny, and the rest is history from there. Loads of space in between the two defenders, and then picked his spot underneath Jordan Pickford on his 200th appearance. Yeah. And what turned out to be a day to forget for him, really. 5 goals rattled in against him. It is what it is. Then the third goal before we saw half-time was Doherty play a lovely through ball for Kane. First time pass on 37 minutes. And then Kane one-on-one in front of goal. We know what usually happens in that scenario. And yes, it did. It was checked by VAR because it was tight. But check done. Goal counts, 3-0 up. Lampard tried to change things at half-time. Defensively, they weren't looking great. He actually took off Michael Keane, but it didn't help him because we also made a change at the break. Sessegnon went off injured. Reguilon comes on 41 seconds after the restart, 41 seconds into Reguilon's time in this game. And we have a goal number 4. We are absolutely running right in this game. So he swept home Kulusevski's cross at the far post. Now, Doherty then gets his second assist of the game, and it's for that man again, Harry Kane. He played a nice lofted pinpoint ball over the top, which Harry Kane volleyed across Pickford into the back of the net, which actually makes Kane overtake Thierry Henry, and he's now on 176 Premier League goals. That leaves him 1 off of Frank Lampard, the manager of the team that he just tore apart. So he'll have that one in his sights, no doubt. That one's going to go this season, definitely. So after this game, we stay in 7th with 2 games in hand over West Ham and United, who currently sit above us. And United is the game that we've got up next. So that's a really, really important one for both teams. I'd expect a response from Manchester United after what was an absolutely dismal performance against Manchester City in what you can't really call a Manchester derby now. It was an absolute joke of a performance from them. So they're going to be hurting. They're going to want revenge. Will Ronaldo come back into the side? I don't know. But if he does, surely he's going to have a point to prove. Obviously, Arsenal are sitting above all of us at the moment, and they have the games in hand, which we discussed in the last video, so don't really care about them right now. So what Conte had to say, I'll just give you a brief outline. He was saying we've got 12 games to play, and I and the players have to be the first to take responsibility. If we reach, he basically gave the impression that if we reach the top four, that is essentially our Premier League title. And that's quite a nice, realistic way of looking at it. He said that he doesn't look to gaining a Champions League spot as something great, because his ambition is to win trophies. But the situation we're in, if we finish in the top four, that has to be seen as like winning a trophy for us this season, which is fair enough, an honest assessment. And I think a lot of what Conte has done since he's been at Spurs has been fairly honest in his interviews. He said the team is improving a lot. He's pleased for the players. They're working hard, and things that they've been trying to do are starting to pay off. He said there's a lot of space to continue to improve, and we have to give everything in the remaining 12 games and see where we end up. So in the game, Sessegnon, who, I wouldn't go as far to say he's been fantastic, but he's been looking brighter. We were hoping that, this run of games would continue to grow his confidence. Unfortunately, had to come off at half-time with an injury, a muscular injury. I don't know the extent of it at the moment. However, I'm hoping the decision to substitute him was because it was maybe he was feeling a muscular injury and they just wanted to protect him rather than aggravate it. But nonetheless, Reguilon came in and, provided us with a goal. So, yeah, happy days on that one. Dele Alli, his return to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium since leaving us in the January transfer window. He came on with 20 minutes to go. I did say I didn't think he'd start this game, and once again he didn't. And he got a lovely warm reception from the Spurs fans, so I'm really happy for him. And then there was a nice moment at the end of the game where Hugo Larisse had his arm around him. He walked him over to the Spurs faithful, and they continued to give him a reception. He had what looked like was a semi-emotional moment whilst talking to Eric Dier. If you remember back when he first joined the club, in that early period where him and Dier were together, they, formed a bit of a bromance. They were seen together all the time, out shopping together. They were paired with each other in all the Spurs videos and interviews and things like that. When they were away with England, they did a lot of interviews and things together there, and I'm sure they would have roomed together. So that was a nice little moment for him. But anyway, that's enough of the game and enough of Dele Alli, and let's move on to the player ratings. So Hugo Larisse only comes away with a 6, and the reason why I think 6 is always the best score to give our goalkeeper, it means he didn't have anything to do. And in this game, it was another game where he had nothing to do, mainly because Everton offered very little, and also because we defended well. He barely touched the ball all game, so yeah. Good news, comes away with 6. Romero, he gets a 7. I felt he worked hard. He defended well for the most part, apart from the wild tackle on Richarlison. We also saw him come off after 52 minutes, and I'm pretty sure that was just because of the yellow card. We know that he likes to defend very much on the front foot, throws himself into challenges. So I think from Conte it was the right decision. And also Sanchez had played fairly well in the build-up to Romero coming back to fitness, which means Davinson Sanchez gets some minutes under his belt as well, which is good for him. Then in the middle of the 3, Eric Dier continues his good run of form. He comes away with an 8. He stopped everything that came his way. He also headed the ball onto the crossbar when we were already 4-0 up, and if you were watching him afterwards when he headed that onto the crossbar, you saw him punching the floor, and that is what I loved about that reaction. Dier, so much passion, even at 4-0 up, got annoyed that he didn't score. That goal was never going to be important for us. And he did mention in his interview after the game with Spurs TV, they were having a bit of a joke and a laugh about things. And he was saying that scoring goals is something that he needs to add back into his game. It's something he's very much working on. And we've seen his free kick technique. He's a fairly decent striker of the ball in that. But yeah, I agree with him. Adding some more goals is probably the next step. And I also would like to point out, and I want your opinion on this in the comments below, does Eric Dier deserve a place back in the England squad after his performances so far this season? My personal opinion is yes, especially when, and Gareth Southgate, we know, is very loyal to his players and Harry Maguire, obviously at Manchester United, is having a bit of a torrid time. And I personally think if Eric Dier doesn't get in the squad and Harry Maguire does, there's an injustice there. We saw that Gareth Southgate, when he had to drop the likes of Harry Winks and Dier from the England squad through their lack of playing time or inconsistencies, that he wasn't happy about it. You know, Dier is someone that has come through the youth ranks with England. Southgate has managed him in the youth squads and very much likes him. He sees him as a leader within the squad, and he said it hurt him to leave him out. So I want to know your opinions on that one. I personally think he's earned at least a spot in the squad. I'm not saying he has to start, but, you know, based on the way he's been playing since he's come back from injury, I really want to see him gain a spot. So let me know. Moving on, Ben Davies comes away with a 7. He played Sessegnon down the left-hand side in the build-up to the opening goal, and then pretty much carried on where he's left off. He defended fairly well, you know, nothing incredible, but, you know, we've come away with a clean sheet, so obviously didn't do anything wrong. Doherty, now this is the interesting one. Doherty comes away with a 9. Now, for me, this was his best game in a Spurs shirt, by far, bar none. I thought he was excellent all game. Put Son through one-on-one. An excellent first-time pass for Harry Kane for the first goal. He then got his second assist to Kane again with his pinpoint flight ball over the top. Look, I just think he's back in the position that he came to play in. Conte's obviously stuck with him, giving him the confidence, giving him a lease of life. He was getting involved. He worked very hard. This is the guy that we signed. So I'm hoping this confidence comes through into the games going ahead in the season. You know, he's at the age of 30. He should be in the prime of his footballing knowledge. So I'm really happy for him and hope he moves on. And I think it's a bit of a weird one because Harry Kane actually, for me, was between a 9 and a 10, like a 9.5. But I will say, Harry Kane, we should expect that of all the time because of the quality. So I actually give my man of the match to Doherty. Even though he got a slightly lower score than Kane, I give it to him because he's not of the same ability as Kane. He's had a tougher start to life at Spurs. So based on what he represents and what he did in this game, he gets my man of the match even without getting the highest score. Let me know if you agree. It's kind of a backward way of doing things, but I think based on his ability and where he's at, I think it's fair enough to give it to him. Højbjerg in the centre comes away with a 7. Look, workhorse performance. He worked really hard in there, got himself about, covered lots of ground. You know, a typical Højbjerg performance that we're used to. Ben Tancoor next to him comes away with an 8. He came in for Harry Winks. He was very composed on the ball. Sometimes was a little bit too laid back, and I said this will happen. He's very good on the ball, likes to try and move the ball on early, and sometimes that's to a detriment, especially in the pace of the Premier League with players of higher fitness levels latching onto things, a higher intensity. He keeps the ball moving, does very well, and he loves getting stuck into a crunching tackle. So I think he's settling in well. Sessegnon comes away with a 7. Obviously a dangerous ball for the first goal. Whipped that one in. Kane then bearing down with the pressure. Good attacking movement. Some sloppy defensive moments, which is why he's only come away with a 7 instead of an 8. And then come off injured, hopefully not too serious. Kulusevski, you know, this guy's just doing things, isn't he, at the moment? He comes away with a 9. He's built for the Premier League. He got his assist for Sonny's goal. He then got a second assist for the Reguilon goal. Set up other chances in the game for Son and Bergwijn. He's been working hard. He's built for the Premier League. He's strong. He's not really having a settling in period. He's just kind of come in. He does what he does. Really happy with him. And I think you'll agree that it was definitely a decent signing. And there was many Spurs fans out there sceptical about this one. And I told you not to be. And sure enough, he is coming good. Sonny comes away with a 7. And that's mainly because of his movement and the goal that he scored. But however, it was another up and down night for him. He's I said in the last video about his stats and his goal involvements that despite the fact that he's having a very topsy-turvy time, he's still managing to contribute with either assist or a goal. He's, you know, the second most prolific in the sense of assist and goals in the last 15, 16 games, bar Mikel Antonio at West Ham. And this is why managers don't take him off. And it happened again. Sonny gets in and grabs himself a goal in a night where, you know, his movement was fantastic, but he had some not so great moments in front of goal, and he gave the ball away at one point that could have created something dangerous for Everton. But nonetheless, you know what it's like. Then Harry Kane comes away with somewhere between, I give him a 9.5. I thought he was excellent again after a poor showing in the game against Middlesbrough. Stepped it up again, playing balls about, holding up the ball well, got himself 2 goals with excellent finishes, and he was doing a bit of the number 9 and number 10 role. You know, he's Harry Kane. He is what he is. The guy is just ridiculous when he's on his day. He's unplayable at times. And again, we saw another showing of that. And hopefully that's the Harry Kane that turns up against Manchester United at the weekend. So now let's talk about the substitutes. Reguilon came at half-time for Sessegnon. He comes away with 7. Obviously had the instant impact where he rifled in his effort from the ball from Kulusevski. He worked hard. I felt as the game went on, he had less and less of an impact, but it was a game where we were so in control. It was very comfortable. There was no other result going to come out of it, so you can kind of understand that. And, you know, he's feeling his way back into fitness to get match sharpness. Sanchez came on for Romero. He comes away with 6. Slotted into the back line fairly well, which I would have expected based on the season that he's been having. He did head wide from a Reguilon free kick. And then Steven Bergwijn also comes away with 6. He forced Pickford into a save. Lots of movement, and I think that's why Conte likes him. You know, I don't see him as a starter at the moment, based on the way that, you know, Kane and Son click, and then Kulusevski has obviously been playing really well. So, you know, all in all, a very good game, a very good sign, and we did expect a win because of the win-loss thing. Now we've got to take this momentum and go into the Manchester United game. Obviously, we've played on a Monday night. We're then playing on a Saturday. We've got a nice little break. There is time to recover, time to look at things tactically. It's everything Conte needs. So this will be the ultimate test of, is it just an inconsistency of game to game, or is it because we're just not as good where we haven't had a rest in between? I mean, obviously it's going to be a hard game. Manchester United are having a bit of a strange season, and they're one of those teams that, based on the players they've got, they should have been guaranteed in this top 4, but their sloppiness at times has allowed other teams to come into the race. At the moment, Arsenal are the ones taking full advantage of that. Makes me angry. West Ham are they're in a bit of an in-between period, so we've got to take advantage of this, keep the pressure on the Arsenal, and hope that snuffs them up a bit. So that game against Manchester United, as I've said, is at Old Trafford, Saturday the 12th at 5:30. So thank you for sticking around today. I hope you enjoyed that one with some analysis of the game, thoughts, a bit on what Conte had said, player ratings. Let me know below if you agree with the player ratings, or let me know yours below. Definitely talk to me about who you thought was your man of the match. I'm sure a lot of you will go with Kane, but I'm hoping the explanation on my part of why I think it should go to Doherty makes sense to some of you. And yeah, I think that is close enough to the best team we can put out. You know, the only thing is, it's a hard one, because when Skip comes back to fitness, what do you do? Obviously, Højbjerg is Mr. Reliable usually, defensively and strong. But how do you take a player like Ben Tancoor out the squad? Or do you play with 3 central midfielders? I don't know. Does it change things? Let me know in the comments below. But thanks for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, like and comment. And until probably tomorrow, come on you Spurs.